two of the creators of G-Boy, probably the most rabid fan base on crypto Twitter right now. I think you guys outpulled our live stream last night. So
the countdown.
So fuck you. It was literally just a countdown. I'm like, God damn it! Like, I even jumped in there. I was like, I got to engage this NEUKO community a little bit here to see if I can start pulling some of it over here.
It's like in between the videos, we just have a 11 a.m. ad.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Jump over. We should have got on top of it. All right. I know you guys have, I think. Austin, you guys are going to be on main stage here a little bit this afternoon. So folks that are live with us here, make sure you go check that out. I like getting the updates. So we're investors in NEUKO, the company behind G-Boy, which gives us a window into what your days are like in some ways. And my understanding is you may have been very deeply in the editing of a big launch video that you're working on right now until the very, very last minute, maybe even 20 minutes beforehand.
Currently still, actually.
Yeah. Usually, usually all of the media that we do, all of the content we do, we actually do day of. Like every single video that anyone's seen has happened the same day that it launches, because we take active stuff that's happening in the community, art that the community is making, memes that they're into, the ways that they're hypothesizing the story will go, and we like bake that into the content. So we have to do it that same day. This one, I fucked myself. I was like, this has to be perfect, and I started working on it early, and I didn't sleep for like.
I love the procrastinator co-peers. Like, no, we have to do it last minute. That's the only thing that will actually happen. Before we get too deep into the conversation, I think there's still a lot of folks. I mean, I see it on the timeline often. They're like, what? What is this? So, and I think you have been very purposefully sort of vague in a lot of stuff. But I'm curious if you could articulate sort of the product, the brand, the opportunity that you're running at.
Greenie, I'm letting you do it.
You're letting me do it?
What are we?
Thanks, man.
What are we? Who are we?
Yeah. So a lot of what we're doing is obviously wrapped in like AI content, and what we kind of started with, the thesis that we started with was just that like there's a lot of things that we've seen in the space that we felt could be done better, that we just didn't like with the way that particularly IP projects are operated. And so we kind of set out to just change that standard a little bit and purposely not overpromise and underdeliver, purposely not sort of keep this our IP and our story gate kept to us and have the community be just kind of like the fans, like to involve people in the part of the process. So a lot of what we do is just sort of, I guess I would just say, exploring the ways that we could shake things up, like the IP space, utilizing AI to Squinch's point, create that last minute content that uses the things going on in our community from day to day to kind of push forward the story of G-Boy that we're currently telling, and along the way find new ways to kind of bring IPs to market like that. So
if I were to say it, just like a brief version of it, of what it feels like, because once again, like I don't want to say this is what we're gonna be the next OpenAI. Like
give us that. We want that.
We're gonna be the next OpenAI. Okay. Pixar's fucked. We got all of them. Biggest, smallest IP in Web3. But the thing that we've done so far, regardless of how much of it was purposeful, is like we kind of made an AI-driven like MMO that is a community that creates a story through all of these kind of like partially economic and partially in-world activities.
So the big, like if you guys really succeed, are kind of the next wave of big IPs going to be launched through NEUKO or using NEUKO?
Yeah, I think that the structure that we're finding our way through, we are systematicifying as we go.
All sound good.
And in doing that, we're doing that in a way that makes things easier for us, easier for our community to contribute. But we've spent a long time building products, and we know what it's like when you build something. When you build a product dry, it's like it's in a way where like anything can be adapted through that way. I've never said building a product wet. I built a lot of wet products. And
no idea what either of those things.
But this one we're building dry as we go, where all of the things that we're doing with NEUKO are very open, like kind of like an API. An API is like the driest like product you can have. Anything can run
an IP API.
Yeah. And I think that there's what that is and the things that it can do will expand as we see the things that work.
So you guys, I'm really curious, and I don't think I've ever asked this to you, because you guys sort of came out of Doodles as sort of like the I think, big thing that you guys did.
Mhm.
But what got you into this category of IP and this type of work generally? Like, I don't even know what that answer is.
I think it was just always the perfect intersection of all of our backgrounds. I got my start early on in the music business. Austin did as well. Squinch was went to school for creative writing early on. A lot of us have spent just so much time in the media industry. Obviously, Austin worked at Amazon. What was it? Amazon Music?
Yeah.
Right. And so
who is my co-founder?
I couldn't remember if it was the specific.
Decades ago.
I think he invented Roblox.
He did do that
Yeah,
too.
that was just for a
And
second.
then Squinch and I invented Fortnite. So
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, but it was just kind of the perfect intersection of all of our backgrounds. And it was something that we all had experience in and we were all passionate about, like sort of seeing the way that the world is changing with IP and the way that they go to market. And I think that, we did spend a lot of time early on, even back and forth with whether we were going to stay in Web3 versus kind of Web2 and just kind of use AI to bring like Web2 IP to market. But for all of us, like storytelling is our passion. Like Squinch and I have played a weekly D&D game for the last 12 years together.
Lore drop on that first
Yeah.
company that me and Greenie tried to start together was like over a decade ago, and it was D&D adventures and D&D monster content, and it was like all D&D content that we're trying to sell PDFs online. So like it's that kind of like fantasy world storytelling, world building,
Right.
IP building, and like I want to put a pin in D&D for you guys, because if you're not a D&D person, first of all, you're dumb. But I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But it is a protocol. Like they have a world that is like, this is the canon lore, and this is how it works. But every table can go and take that world and play it in their own way. And the stuff that happens at those tables can become recycled back into the lore. Like there are main characters in the lore now that are from tables in the 80s. There are characters in the lore now that are from live streams 10 years ago. And that structure that they've done is like a pen and paper IP protocol. And it's a really, really interesting route.
There's something I love about sort of, it's like the internet was, the first version of the internet was PDFs on the internet, and then we get to social media. And now we have sort of your starting point here being trying to sell PDFs of DDD, or
Of DDT.
Something else on the Vine video.
but now kind of step into this. And so I think what has been interesting for me to see is sort of this, I think there's a lot of open questions, especially in the creative fields, around the impact of generative AI on creation, around art, etc. I mean, I think at Art Basel, it seems to be one of like the big discussion points. And really, I think one of the ways I've characterized sort of the journey that I've watched you guys go on is just this sort of like infatuation with this technology from the artist storyteller point of view, and really the searching for the there. And I'm wondering if you can sort of capture that insight. Like what is sort of the insight that has come out of your real active participation in that technology?
I think so. I'm such a tremendous hater all the time, which is like awful, because I always just I always try to like spread love in a lot of ways. But like I see a lot of content come out on the timeline, not usually from Web3 people, just from like AI people in general, where they're like, look at this cartoon that I made that is like dudes talk this. It's a AI cartoon of an interview, or it's an AI cartoon of a woman and a man arguing at a cafe. And it's like the lip syncing is awesome. The graphic quality is awesome. Everything is put together really well. And it's like furiously unfunny. The story means nothing.
Yeah.
The voice acting is shit. It's just useless. And so like, I think one of the reasons that people see AI art and AI video in this like slop way is because there's no human story or heart underneath it that's trying to be expressed through it. It's like, how do I just fully outsource the entire process, and like using it as like a collaborative coworker, as something that you are like when I make a video, even with the tech that we've built and all of the good tech that I use, I can never make the exact thing I put in my head, and you have to give it room and let it respond. And then you're like, oh fuck, that is not how I saw that shot, but that guy would do that. What does that mean for the next shot? And you just like, you have to like play ping pong with it. And like, if you know where the story's going, you know the feeling you're trying to give the audience, you know the thing you're trying to do, and then you give this like impressionistic like margin of opportunity for the machine to like co-work with you, you can make really, really fantastic stuff.
I had a chat with Scott Belsky, who was at Adobe and now is at A24. And one of the places we sort of found ourselves getting into was he was sort of saying that so much of the startups tools that are building in this sort of creative space around AI are actually targeting like the casual user and haven't been targeting the expert or the pro user. And it really used that language of like, you know, creators really have this vision that they want to get. And so how do we create tools that actually enable people to get to that vision quicker? And it's not just a simpler prompt and a chat. There's probably a lot more. So I wonder if you guys could talk a little bit about the tools that you guys have built here and how you sort of adapted that for your needs.
Yeah, I mean that.
Did I get in his frame?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I thought that this was like a split screen.
No, you guys are good.
Yeah,
We're in one frame. I keep looking
It
at
does
this and
that
he
little
looks
line.
awesome, and then I look at myself and I'm like, you could tell I didn't sleep this week at all.
Yeah.
Keep going, Hottie.
I'm trying to remember the question.
The question was, what about our tool? What have you done?
Yeah, it's definitely true. Like so many of the tools, especially ones that I find even people that are kind of in the AI space use are often general purpose tools. Things like, you know, everyone's probably used ChatGPT to make an image. Some people have used like Google to make an image, which is a significantly better image model. But a lot of the sort of like specialized AI tooling it's just really high friction. A lot of it runs locally. It uses your RAM. If you don't have a good computer, you're kind of just, as soon as you Google it, you're just like, well, I just can't do that. And so a lot of what we did was kind of figuring out how to create these more specialized models that have consistency with our characters. It was what we spent a lot of our early time on, running iterations of these sort of LoRa's for many characters, and that was one of the ways that we stumbled upon G-Boy, which I'm sure we'll get into. But like one of the main things that we started with early on was just that like we have a story we want to tell. We have these things that we want to show in a product, and we have no way to get this consistency. So how do we create these specialized tools? All right, we found a way to create these specialized tools in a more advanced way. Now on the back end, like how do we create a way to productize that, for people to access it, to have our own infrastructure where we can make that repeatable for people that want to come and want to create with G-Boy or potentially with a different character and things like that. So a lot of that has been discovery of just kind of trial and error, like what we need. And then as soon as we find a solution to something we need, we're like, well, then just everybody should have this. Everyone should use it. Yeah, it's a little bit of like sort of a narrow use case right now with G-Boy, but that's where we're at. That's what we're working on.
Let's go there to G-Boy because got a couple of minutes left here. What is the important stuff for folks to know about your game plans around G-Boy?
G-Boy is a little cutie with a red hood and little red ears, and he's sitting over there. He's a psionic asset that has escaped. We have a community of people.
A psionic asset that has escaped. Yeah, you can't love that one.
You can dig in. You can dig in. It's an IP. It's a story. It's a MMO AI ARG. It's a fucking who knows. It's a collective art experience that we're doing online with our community. G-Boy is the center of the story world, the story that we're telling with our community, where we highlight their art, their creations, the way that they see the world, the jokes that they have between each other, and the story that we have in the background is discovered by them through puzzles on the blockchain and online. We try to drive speculation and market dynamics into the way that the story is told, and make everything sort of somewhere between a role-playing game, a market and social experiment. So that's sort of what he is.
I mean, how have you guys been so successful going zero to one? Like obviously, you know, creative talent, put so much thought into the lore behind it, but I imagine there's also some very tactical ways that you guys grew this community so quickly and created such a rabid community around it.
I mean, yes, there is, and there are tactics. Like the thing that Greenie said about just like we've seen a lot of shit that didn't work. We've been here for a while. We've worked at projects in the space. We've seen a lot of projects in the space come and go. We were like front lines with the community for multiple projects. We've seen what people like and don't like, and so like a lot of that kind of came naturally. It wasn't like we like made a big spreadsheet of like this is the way we're gonna psyop everybody into thinking this dude is hype. It was just like what would be hype for us, what would feel good, what would make me interested and excited, what would lead me on this journey. And like we just did those things as we went and responded to the things that people were like actively feeling and vibing with. And in the beginning, most of it, even this whole week, it is chaotic, hard, process. Like all of our first 250 followers, I came up from the bathroom and I was like, I want to DM them all and thank them. And the guys were like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I stayed all night and I just DM'd everybody. And then the next 750 we got, I was like, let's fucking DM them too. And we DM'd them. And then we came up with this part of the story where there were these badges, and it just like, it grew out of that. And each thing is tactical, and we know what we're doing and what function it serves kind of in this like marketing loop, and like how it will drive hype and heat. We really want to find places that drive heat where people are like going to be skeptical or pissed or something like that. Like that's a good way to kind of game the algorithm. But really a lot of it is responsive and us trusting each other and us trusting that the stuff that the community wants and what they vibe with, and that they'll ride with us. And like when my palms sweat, which happened 4 or 5 times during this project, where we're about to press something and I'm like, oh shit. That's like when it's like, that's it. That's the thing.
I mean, I think a lot of it too is like just the doing things that don't scale is like one of our main things that we really wanted to be willing to do early on, is just like DMing everyone, and our airdrop of all the badges,
manually sending every badge.
We sent them all one by one because we just didn't have time to make a script, and it was just like do things that don't scale. And like he said, we kind of have enough of a gut instinct, and we all trust each other. That's like when we all get that feeling of like, yep, that's great. It's just like, do it, pull the trigger.
Yeah, I think often behind that question is like, what has worked before that I can copy paste over here? And it seems like that has been the antithesis of how you've approached it. And so there's very much tactics and strategy here, but it's through feeling and sort of discovering and co-creation. And I think that's really, I mean, I tweeted yesterday as I was trying to steal some of your viewers on your live stream, asking what sort of questions people would have here. And what I'll say to folks that are watching live here is that stay tuned to the Solana main live stream. I think you guys will be up there shortly sharing some news. And so I think a lot of the questions that you all have here are going to be answered there, or probably we'll create a whole bunch more questions there as well, which you guys want. So guys, really appreciate you hopping on it. Thank you for donating G-Boy here for us on the desk. It's really
we're keeping it
here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I bought one, so I got it.
We'll just take that one back.
Yeah. We didn't get into any of the stats around the crazy amount of memes that are created or the crazy number of these characters that you shared. That's for another time, gentlemen.
Everybody go to gboyspecial.com. Make your own G-Boy meme today.
How's that? Perfect. Let's get out of here.
Thanks, Oh, that was so awkward.
First time touching in real life.
Oh,
First time being awkward, actually. I've had like a 100% hit rate before this. God damn.
Thanks, boys. Good luck.
Metaplex. This clip brought to you by Metaplex. Launch tokens and NFTs on Solana and the SVM.